Our grant at Lawrence County High School was for the Spanish program. It was for $1,000, and what I wanted to do with it was to get materials that would get the kids curious about learning and keeping on learning on their own. And I wanted materials that would provide what we call comprehensible input, so something that's challenging at a slightly higher level than where they are, but using strategies and previous knowledge, they could figure things out and learn from them. And some of the things we do to get that comprehensible input, we have the teacher-student interaction. We use authentic materials from all over the place, especially things on the internet, videos, movies, cartoons, newspapers, and so on. And what we bought was a set of Senior Woolley materials. They are graphic novels coming along with lots of videos, songs, exercises online, all kinds of things that were fun for the kiddos. So they were bombarded with comprehensible input. They could hear the language. They could play games and have that repetition they needed to learn the language structures, to the point that they could talk about these stories and about these graphic novels, and they had lots of playtime. Games, and things that would have been otherwise very boring to students to keep practicing in class through games. They became a very engaging activity, and they learned a whole lot from them. These are discussion groups with some of my students where they're talking about these graphic novels. The materials were awesome for multiple purposes. The NTI days, they were a lifesaver. Homework and substitute teacher days, like now, they are on Senior Woolley working. And new students who come in sometime toward the end of the year and they're lost and they have no clue what we're doing, what we're talking about. They could have access to these materials and figure things out and start learning and catching up. And these are ideas of some of my students' projects, and students reading individually in groups, interacting with these materials. And one thing that I loved was that I could see in real time their progress. I could see where they're stumbling, what they are doing for fun, although they are acing it like 3 times, or where they're completely puzzled, and we could work from there. They loved the games, they loved the songs. We sang enough with the karaoke in class to where I know my neighbors were driven crazy. They probably speak Spanish by now. But anyway, the detailed reports in real time were one thing that I absolutely loved, and the repetition. They need that repetition at the lower level. The resources proved to be proficiency level appropriate. I could set the proficiency level for students individually, or set them or as groups or as whole classes, and that was a lifesaver. They were also age appropriate, although some of the things were cartoons, or this, for example, was one of the graphic novels. It's a love story between a scarf and a pair of boots. And I have high schoolers, sophomores through seniors. They loved this. This has become their favorite thing ever. How do I know they love it? Well, one of the things is I have a class that's made up of seniors only. They decided to write their own story in which everybody, all the protagonists were ducks. So, you know, age appropriate. They were very, very creative, and these are some of my favorite projects they did throughout the school year. In Spanish 1, where they're novice learners, they rewrote the novel, a 47-page novel. I gave them blank pages, just the drawings, and I made sure to tell them about it a few days after I had hidden the novels, after they read them, so they would have forgotten a whole lot, and they had to be very creative in rewriting them. Spanish 2, a duck story, out of all things. But in that story, they included their own memories from high school, their favorite experiences. And it turned out to be a fabulous video. Spanish 3, a love story between 2 mismatched socks, of course. And these are snapshots from Google Drive where they wrote the story together. After that, they created a video, they created a poster, for it and a trailer with which they teased all the other classes and made them think about what's coming. And then finally the other classes got to watch the video. We focused on all modes of communication, which was essential. And I loved the most the collaboration we had, not only within classes, but among classes and among different levels. Everybody got to watch the Spanish 3 video, Spanish 3 got to watch the Spanish 2 video, and everybody got to judge the novels that Spanish 1 created and vote on the best one. I loved the growth. My students all came in with a pre-assessed 0 previous knowledge, and it was a joy to see them evolve from words to lists of words to phrases and sentences, and they're writing in paragraphs, they're writing stories and creating fabulous things. Technically speaking, one of my favorite things has been that they had a whole lot of exposure to multiple tense frames, and it felt natural even for level 1 students on the topics discussed in class to speak in the past tense, which if you've taken a foreign language, you know it's quite a bit, yeah? So it has been an absolutely fabulous year. I've seen a whole lot of learning happen, a whole lot of growth, and I am really appreciative for this grant. Thank you.